Okay, let's look at this clock. What kind of clock is this? Is it an analog clock or a digital clock? I hope you said analog because it is an analog clock. This is the clock face, and you can see that we have our numbers going from 12 all the way back around to 12. So 12, and then it starts back over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right now my minute hand is pointing straight at the 12, and right now I have it where it's showing us the increments. So that's the 0, 0, and we say o'clock with that. What is my hour hand pointing to? What number is it on? That's right, it's on the 9. So we would read this time as 9 o'clock. So here's my question. If we start math at 9 o'clock and we work on math for 30 minutes, what time would we finish working on math? So let's actually look at it and see. So I'm going to drag my minute hand and I'm going to count by 5s, because remember, each time I see a big number that's worth 5, and it tells us up here because I have that part still turned on. So 30 minutes, count with me by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So what time did we finish math if we worked on it for 30 minutes? Well, let's look at our clock. We just moved our minute hand, and we know that the 30 is right at the 6. But what do you notice about the hour hand? Turn and talk to somebody. What do you notice about the hour hand? Come back to me in 3, 2, 1, 0. Is the hour hand still pointing exactly at the 9? No, it's not. So just like the minute hand moves, the hour hand actually moves as well. And we know that 6 is half of 12, so it's halfway through the 9 o'clock hour. And if you look, it's actually halfway between the 9 and the 10. So that helps us. So if I wanted to be really mean, which I'm not going to be right now, and turn off the minute hand, and I only had the hour hand, I could still look at this and I would know that it's 9:30 because my hour hand is pointing halfway between the 9 and the 10. Let's turn it back on for now. Let's try another problem. So I'm going to go back, and this time I'm going to say that it is 7 o'clock. So I wake up at 7 o'clock and I have to be out the door by a certain time. But I like to do a lot of things in the morning before I leave. It takes me 10 minutes to get up and brush my teeth and wash my face and brush my hair. So if it takes me 10 minutes, what time would it be? Let's count it. Let's see. 5, 10. So what time is it now? That's right. It is 7:10. And you can see my hour hand is starting to move. And my minute hand is pointing right at the 2, which is worth 10 minutes. And then I spend another 20 minutes working on getting lunch ready and eating breakfast. So if I worked another 20 minutes, I'm going to start right here and I'm going to count by 5s until I say 20. So I'm going to say 5, 10, 15, 20. So now what time is it? That's right, it's 7:30. My hour hand is in between the 7 and the 8, so I know it's still in the 7 o'clock hour. And my minute hand is pointing straight at the 6, which I know is worth 30 minutes. The last thing I do before I get ready to walk out the door, after I've brushed my teeth and my hair and I've gotten lunch ready and I've eaten breakfast, is I make sure I know where my socks and shoes are and I have my backpack. And that usually takes me about 5 minutes. So if I go another 5 minutes, what time is it whenever I try to walk out the door? Well, I know my hour hand is still in between 7 and 8. So I'm still in the 7 o'clock hour. So it's 7, and my minute hand is pointing straight at the 7, which is worth 7:35. So that means that I walk out the door by 7:35. So let's check. I'm going to turn my digital clock on. Hey, look, it's right here. And it tells me that it's 7:35 a.m. Now, really, I have to leave a lot earlier than that because school starts before 7:35, but it was just my example. One of my other jobs I do is I make sure that I'm calling all the buses. So every single day after school or when school's over and you hear somebody calling the buses, that's me. So I usually start at this time. What time is shown on the clock? Well, I see that my hour hand is just a little bit past the 3, but it's still in the 3 o'clock hour. And my minute hand is pointing straight at the 1, which is worth 5 minutes. So what time do I start calling buses? If you said 3:05, you're correct. 3:05 p.m. Now, it usually takes me about 25 minutes to get through all 10 buses. So can you count with me for 25 and see what time I usually finish calling all the buses? Here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So what time is it when I usually stop calling for all the buses? Well, I know my hour hand is between the 3 and the 4, so it's still in the 3 o'clock hour because it hasn't made it to 4 yet. So it's 3. And if my minute hand wasn't here and it's right in the middle, I know that that means that it's halfway there, so that's 30 minutes. But I also have my minute hand here, and it's pointing straight at the 6, which is 30 minutes. So I would say this time as 3:30, and it's p.m. because it's afternoon. Now, by the time that I usually get home from leaving work and picking up my kids from daycare, it's usually this time. What time do I usually get home from work? I heard 2 different things. I heard somebody say that I get home at 12:30, and I heard somebody else say that I got home at 6 o'clock. Well, let's think about this. 12:30 could be like when we're having lunch, or it could be in the middle of the night. I don't want to work that long. So it's not 12:30, it's 6 o'clock. My hour hand is pointing straight to my 6, and my minute hand is pointing straight to the 12, which tells me that it's o'clock. So 6 o'clock. And if I wanted to look at that on a digital clock, this is what it would look like. My 6 is over here on the left side. My colon separates my hours and my minutes, and my 00 tells me that it's 0 minutes into 6 o'clock. Now, once I get home, I have to get ready for dinner for me and my family. And that usually takes me about 20 minutes. So what time do I usually start feeding my family? Because I've already made all of dinner. So let's count 20 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20. So if I count those 20 minutes, my minute hand is now at the 4, which is 20 minutes. And my hour hand is between the 6 and the 7. So that means that it's still in the 6 o'clock hour because it hasn't made it to 7 yet. So 6:20. After I start letting them eat, because dinner's ready, it takes them about another 20 minutes to actually eat. So if we take another 20 minutes, what time do we finish eating dinner? So let's count and see. 5, 10, 15, 20. What time do we usually finish eating dinner? Well, if I look at my hour hand, it's still between the 6 and the 7. So it's 6. And my minute hand is pointing straight to the 8, which tells me it is 40. So we usually finish eating dinner about 6:40. Then I have to clean all the dishes and plates and get ready for bath and bedtime. So that usually takes me about 10 minutes. So if it takes me 10 minutes to get the table cleaned and get things ready for bath and bedtime, what time is it once I get all of that done? So if it's 10 more minutes, let's count. 5, 10. What hour are we working in now? Did it change? No, it didn't change yet. It's still between 6 and 7. It's getting really close to 7, but it still hasn't got all the way to 7 yet. So it's still in the 6 o'clock hour. So it's 6, and my minute hand is pointing straight at the 10, which is 50. And it would be about 6:50 whenever we start getting ready for bath and bedtime. Now, it doesn't always have to end in an increment of 5. So sometimes it might be like right here. So maybe I'm running a few minutes late. So instead of it being 6:50, it's really 6:50. And then I'm going to look and see, look, 51, 52, 53. So sometimes it might be a little bit longer. So these little bitty tick marks in here are worth 1. So if you're having a hard time, find what it was for the big number. So I know this was 50, and then I can count on from that number. So 50, 51, 52, 53.